Our next guest is a two-time UFC champion. It looks like he's on his way to his third title shot. The $6 million man is healing and getting stronger day by day. Dillashaw himself, Daddy's home, TJ Dillashaw. Welcome back to Submission Radio, man. We appreciate you joining us after a crazy amount of tech issues on both of our ends, but we made it happen. Look at us. We've achieved something altogether.
Thanks so much for joining us, man. Appreciate it. First and foremost, got to ask, how's the body at the moment, man? Last time we spoke, you obviously did an excellent job wrecking your knee last time against Corey. And when we spoke, it was fresh after the surgery. You were in bed icing. The doctors had told you 3 months at that point. And you've just recently gotten back into training again. How's the knee treating you?
Yeah, I wish it was only 3 months. That shit was crazy, man. It was a long recovery. You know, I tore every ligament in my knee besides my ACL. So if I wanted to do it, I guess I was going to do it right. I think I was just being optimistic with saying 3 months. You know, it wasn't like I was thinking, I didn't tear my ACL, I'm good, But actually, I have 2 surgeries done on my knee to get to where I'm at now. But the road has been great, and it all going to work out timing-wise. So feeling good, and recovery's great.
Yeah, man. Dude, that's crazy. And we're sorry to hear that, but so happy that you're back on track. How did you deal with that? Like when you realized it was a little bit worse than what you thought and was going to take maybe a little bit longer than what you envisioned to get back into training?
Not really much you can do, right? Just kind of stayed positive. I had a bunch of work doing outside the cage as well, too. I got a lot of companies going on, and business outside the cage keeps me very busy as well as a 4-year-old and just living life, getting to be 36 years old in this fight game, your body feels everything. So recovery is not as fast, and it's just something to be expected.
I feel you big time, man. I had a hip labrum surgery 3 weeks ago, and I'm going in for shoulder surgery this Friday. So I have a newfound, both labrums completely fucked. I have a newfound appreciation for what a lot of fighters go through, and especially the hurdles when you think, all right, this is the timeline where life goes back to normal, and then life throws a curveball at you. It's like, not so fast. There's going to be things different. Yeah. Is it fair to say though that like you're able to handle this differently in this part of your life because you have all those businesses, you have all those other things, and you've got the family as well? I feel like maybe back in the day when you were still striving to early in your career, striving to prove yourself, it would have been a different story. This kind of setback, right?
Yeah, I guess so, right? If I only myself, I feel like my only self identity was fighting, right? There's a lot more now to life that can distract me in a good way. I actually feel sharper. I feel more in tune with everything because I so much stuff. Like I don't just train. Like I used to be like I'd train at the gym. I'd come home, watch some Netflix, chill, just do nothing, right? Nothing else in my life other than training and fighting. Completely obsessed with it. But it's actually been a nice escape to have business to deal with when I come home and something to keep me active instead of just sitting on the couch and only thinking about fighting, right? It's good to have those escapes within your own brain to keep you sharp.
100%. I understand that aspect as well. How do you toe the line? Because historically, there's always been this narrative with maybe more so fighters who get into acting or Hollywood or other things. Oh, they're spreading themselves thin. But you're running a business. You're very hands on. You got clean juice. You got a whole bunch of other things. How do you sort of stop yourself from spreading yourself thin and getting distracted by all sorts of other different aspects?
I'm not sure if it's the distractions more than just the motivation. These guys that get involved in other stuff, they're, maybe not as motivated to be in the best, right? Because I think sometimes distractions are actually good. I think sitting around and thinking about fights nonstop, watching tape and just being so involved in the fight life isn't always the best thing for my health and mentality, at least. I think it's more so losing the motivation because they have another form of income or can start seeing life outside of fighting. But there's nothing that's going to sidetrack me from to outwork every opponent that I'm going to fight and be more motivated than they are to call myself the best.
I think it's one of those things where it's cool that you can enjoy fighting and it's not just like the only thing that you can do to earn a living. So it doesn't kind of take out some of that passion and enjoyment away from it for you. You know, it's kind of like you got your businesses, you got other ways to have your income. So it's not something you have to do. It's something that you love to do. And I think sometimes when it's something that you love, but it becomes something that you have to do, you lose some of that passion, and it kind of like shows in the results with some fighters in the past. I was going to say, man, I know you said in the past that grappling will be the last thing you'll be comfortable with in training. Where are you at in terms of comfort and finding your feet in training right now, and just generally relying on and sort of trusting your knee now that it's kind of recovered?
I'm doing everything, full head, every single training practice, killing it, strength conditioning. I'm doing jiu-jitsu, all the grappling and wrestling I need to do as well as striking. My knee's almost like too secure. It's like it feels great. It feels really, really good. I got my explosive. I mean, the one thing that I was kind of worried about after my first surgery was for sure getting the full range of motion, but getting my explosivity back, right? Like that was like the last kind of thing that came back to me. And then after I had my second surgery to clean out that scar tissue, it came back right away, which was kind of like a stress reliever, right? Because it's in the back of your head. It's like, fuck, got to deal with this now too, right? Like I've been coming back off another layoff, and now I got to deal with not being my true self. And which everyone has those things going into the cage, but something you don't want to have. But that came back, and so I'm feeling very positive and good about that.
Well, also because like one of the things you're known for is your movement and your footwork, right? It would have been so hard to just like, well, I'm just going to create a new style, around that. Was that partly in the back of your mind, like because it was the knee specifically? And I know last time we spoke, you were so optimistic, like, 3 months, whatever. Yeah. When they told you, hang on a second, you got one more surgery, and of course it was just to clean up the scar tissue, but was there a moment where you were like, shit, how's this going to affect, my actual style?
No, I think it just comes with being mentally tough as being optimistic at the same time, right? I think that's why I was like overly optimistic in the beginning as well too. I mean, and then obviously being, falsely optimistic it can be hindering to you as well, but just being mentally tough. And I mean, shit, I want to beat a number one contender fight, which I actually think is a more dangerous guy on one leg. So, I mean, I can fucking beat this chump coming up soon on one leg as well. I'm not too worried about it. I think Corey Sandhagen's actually the tougher fight. And, if he had a little more well-roundedness, he'd be even further along. But I just feel that nothing's going to hold me back from getting my belt. It doesn't matter what it is. If I got to go in there and fight with one arm, one leg, one eye, don't matter.
Yeah, it's that championship mentality. All right, so let's talk about your return, because in terms of a timeline, what would be realistic for you? And have you spoken with the UFC at all about your return?
Yeah, I know. My manager Tiki, Tiki Gerson's doing a good job of talking to him about that. So I'm sure we'll hear about it sometime in the future. But I'm ready as soon as he is. So I know he fought in April. By the time he's ready, I'll be ready.
Is it a foregone?
I'm ready now. Yeah, I feel good. I mean, training's been awesome. So there's nothing holding me back from stepping in there.
Is it definitely the case that you'll be fighting Aljo next?
It sounds like it, man. Why not? I mean, like I said, I never lost my belt. I came back, beat the number one contender. That's what's next.
Yeah, it's definitely a fight that fans want to see. I know you don't really pay much attention to any like media or social media, but did you see Dominick Cruz's recent comments about you possibly getting the next title shot?
I didn't know.
Okay, allow us to fill you in. We're going to do that thing that obviously everyone in media loves to do. We told you what someone said, we'll get your response. But basically, he's I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but he obviously spoke to Ariel last week, and he said he was suspended for cheating, so to get a shot after one win, okay, cool. Sounds like a hookup to me. He got 2 years off, didn't really lose any money, and then just gets right back in the title picture. It's not like he had an easy fight. Corey Sandhagen is no joke, but still one fight. Pedro Munoz and all these other people that are in the division that have just been competing. It's crazy. So I wanted to get your thoughts. What did you make of that? And Cruz suggesting that the UFC is quote unquote hooking you up, so to speak.
He just sounds like a salty cunt, to be honest. You know what I mean? He's just jealous.
That's a headline right there for the video team.
That's for the Aussies, the salty cunt.
Yeah. I just think he's obviously jealous of me being able to stay on the top with my layoff and how long we've been in the sport, and me still be able to come back and prove that I'm still the best, and I did lose money, right? Me not fighting for 2 years while being a champion is a lot of money out of my pocket. I keep racking in the wins, getting title defenses. I mean, we're talking about millions and millions of dollars that I let slip through my fingers because I made a fucking stupid mistake. So yeah, I mean, I paid my time. I came back and fucking grinded to get that win on fucking one leg and one eye, and there's nothing you can do to deny me that's my shot. So I mean, like I said, he's just being salty, and that's kind of his personality, anyways. He's kind of an unlikable dude. I mean, I've always respected him, and I think he's got a good eye for stuff, but he's got like this chip on his shoulder where it feels like everything's owed to him, and he's just like always complaining about shit. You know what I mean? So it's just his personality. Of course, he's going to say that, but it's because he'll never get there again. I don't think he's ever going to have a shot to get the belt back, and that probably bothers him because at one time he was the best.
Wow, so you don't think he'll make it up to the top? Because I was going to say, if you were champion, that'd be a very fun fight that I personally would love to see, and I was curious if that was something that it was important to you as well. I
mean, I got some other, I think, a bigger fish to fry, kind of, to be honest. All the chips are kind of lining up. I get my belt back. Cejudo's saying he's coming back. I mean, we got Jose Aldo. I think there's a lot more dangerous and notable guys to fight. I think I'm trying to remember his last fight. I think he squeaked out a win that split decision victory against a guy that wasn't even top 10 or something like that, right?
I want to say it was Casey Kenny. Let me just double check. I think it was Casey Kenny.
Yeah. What's he ranked?
You're asking me to do a lot of fact checking here, TJ. I don't.
Yeah, we're able to make bringing the shit talk to the table. You gotta be able to back it up, dude.
That's true.
Hey, TJ, by the way, could I just say that Salty Cunt is a great name for a business?
I kind of made my point. So who really cares? To be honest.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was gonna
just bring it back to the fact that Salty is a great name for a business. If any of us want to start a third business.
You got clean juice. You got clean juice. You can do salty be like burgers and fries.
Yeah. Potato chips. All right. Gotta ask, man. All right, let's talk about the champion himself, Aljamain Sterling. I think it helps that he wants to fight you next as well. We know you were cage side there at UFC 273. What did you make of him gunning for you immediately after his win?
I feel like watching him, he obviously called me out because of all the attention on me fighting Yan next, because we all knew that Yan wanted to fight me. It was kind of like, oh, yeah, I don't know. I won. I'll call you out kind of thing. And then instantly he was like, shit, what did I just say? Like, damn, I probably shouldn't have called the guy. It was almost like backtracking, like, oh, I don't know who I'm going to fight. I was like, bro, you just fucking called me out. Now you're going to say you don't know who you're going to fight? Like, I don't know. I mean, it makes the most sense. I feel like I'm the biggest fight. There's going to be a lot of attention on me trying to get my belt back, even if a lot of people are going to hate it, right? It's still the attention of me getting it. So it's a good money fight. It makes sense being the champion and wanting to get those eyeballs.
Look, I think as far as big fights in the division goes, it absolutely makes sense. And just in general, it's, I think, what the people want to see. Out of curiosity, what did you think of the fight itself? Aljo, the way that he beat Petr Yan. I think a lot of people were shocked. I think most people, including ourselves, expected Yan to go in there and beat him. But what did you make of the actual performance itself?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely expected Yan to win. I was there to wait for Yan to call me out. Yan made some big mistakes and showed a lot of holes in his game. It was crazy to me that he could not get out of the body triangle, go in the wrong direction, and pretty much just focusing on not getting finished rather than winning. He's like playing the long game, which he always does. We needed that in the first round too. He started slow. He came off this high guard, and he really corralled Aljamain. But Aljamain's kind of the only guy that really landed anything, like throwing those kicks to keep him off of him. And then the next two rounds, we all know what happened. Aljo was a backpack on him for 8 minutes. The only two takedowns he got, Yan gave up his back. Like, the guy, I mean, his strongest suit in martial arts is him on the back. He's not like a finisher. He's not dangerous on his feet. It's like you just can't let him take your back. His coaches even tell him, like, don't give up. And like the first thing he did, even after the second round, going into the third, he was like right away gave his back up again. So some brain farts on that. I expected Yan to kind of run through him again like he did the first fight, but Aljo had a great couple of rounds that really changed the whole pace of the fight. Because then after that, Yan was just really headhunting, and trying to get that finish because he probably knew that he needed to. Close fight, but when I was there in person, I thought, I think Yan, you could have squeaked that one out. Just until I went back and watched that first round. That first round decided the whole fight, and I think Sterling didn't win it. So, yeah, that's how I said it. So I'll go down.
What do you make of Sterling as an opponent and challenge for you next if you do get this title shot?
He's definitely got his strengths. He's got his annoyingness with fighting. He's awkward and whatnot, right? But he's just not very threatening. I could fucking go in there and fight him with my hands down and not worry about getting knocked out because he doesn't pack a punch whatsoever. So it's not a very nerve-wracking fight to go into. Think about like the worst things that can happen is, and Sterling's not that guy. So it's just dealing with what he does good, to be honest. He's a world champion. You can't take that away from him. Maybe the first time he got it was a little bit of bullshit, especially with the way he acted, but he won that second fight fair and square, so power to him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you gain any extra respect for him after that second fight? I think a lot of people did, like we mentioned before, given what people expected to happen with Yan instead.
I mean, I guess, but it was pretty fucking boring, man. I mean, we all watched the UFC and MMA fighting because of the entertainment aspect of the sport, right? Like, I just could never be that kind of winner. I mean, it's just putting people to sleep, in the wrong way, in the way of boredom. And so, I mean, respecting as he was able to climb to the top and get the belt, but not in the actual style of fighting, right? I'd rather, look for that finish and be a threat. Kind of like what Yan was. Yan lost the fight, but he's the guy that's probably more dangerous, right? He's gonna go out there and look for that finish and keep that pace going, looking for the finish.
Yeah, for sure. It's an interesting time in the division as well, man. I do think that at some point, regardless, you and Yan will meet in the future in some capacity, just because he has that ability to, get himself back up there and make those adjustments. But I feel like between you and Aldo, you've been dropping the line "Daddy's home." Well, speaking of Daddy, Father's Day is around the corner for all our good friends in the States and Canada. And if you're going to treat Daddy or your father to something, and if you're racking your brains thinking, what do I get? Another year, another Father's Day. Geez, how many gifts have I gotten him? Well, look no further than our friends at Manscaped, because, hey, everybody gets their father grooming tools, but don't settle for any inferior products. Get the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0, the pound-for-pound greatest grooming tool in the world with its skin-safe technology. No need to worry about any cuts or nicks. It's got the LED light. It is waterproof, so you can just smash it out in the shower. It's got the wireless charging dock, so you can just throw it on there, forget about it, move on with life. It's got the travel lock, so it doesn't go off in your bag. It really is the perfect tool. Also, you got different guards for different lengths and textures. Manscaped have you covered, and they've got Dad covered with the Performance Package 4.0. It also comes with the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, which, any old dude needs. Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver Ball Toner, the Performance Boxer Briefs, which is fantastic underwear, and then a travel bag to hold all the goodies. Make Dad happy and make your life 1,000 times easier. No need to worry about any other gifts. The Performance Package 4.0. Forget about number one bullshit, as Habib said. You'll be number one son or daughter for the rest of your life. Isn't that right, Dennis?
Yeah, man. And what I love about it is you guys get free shipping and 20% off with the code word submission, and getting it is actually a whole experience all in itself. Get your dad a good laugh by the way he opens up the box and the amazing set that the Manscaped provides if you do get the packages. I mean, just got to say, I think you hit the nail on the head, Cass. It's hard to find cool new things to get your dad for Father's Day. This is a perfect way to surprise him, get some laughs, and really make a difference to his life with Manscaped and the code word submission. And if you guys want to get some cash up for the big event, why not go to our friends at MyBookie, where you can double your first deposit with a code word submission. Some crazy odds over there right now. And I'm not just talking about upcoming fights. I'm talking about Will Smith versus Chris Rock. Will Smith at a -500, Chris Rock at a +300. Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou with boxing rules and MMA gloves. Tyson Fury -500, Francis Ngannou +250. These guys have it all, including the fight this weekend. You got Rosenstruck at +120, and you got Volkov at a -150. Not to mention all these crazy odds when it comes to the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. And there is some serious opportunities to make money this coming weekend and these few weeks. in the crazy world of sport with our friends at MyBookie, you make sure to use that code word submission and double that first deposit now, Cass.
100%. The other thing about all these wild and wacky fights, I know here in Australia it's super hard to watch them because of geo-blocking. Don't worry about geo-blocking anymore with our good friends at NordVPN. They have the solution for you. You can watch all this great stuff like in the States, in America, like Hulu, HBO Max, Peacock, ESPN+, AEW, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, boxing, all of that now unlocked for you. All you got to do is click one button, set your location to America or Canada or wherever you want, and you have access to the entire country or continent's streaming services just like that. Or maybe you're in the States or Canada and you want to watch Neighbours here in Australia, well, or Home and Away. Well, now you can do that. It works all over the world. I know BT Sport used to have a lot of phenomenal MMA and boxing content that used to be sometimes isn't geo-blocked, but why not avoid the risk and make sure you have access to all of it. Also, NordVPN protects all your things like your credit card details. I know me, I have all my credit cards saved to Google Chrome and Firefox and all that kind of stuff. It takes one little leak in information and all of that is gone, and now people are buying all sorts of questionable things with your hard-earned money. Don't take that risk. Get NordVPN with their free threat protection. Isn't that right, Dennis?
Yeah, man, we've got a crazy deal going on here. You get the huge discount off your NordVPN plan, that threat protection that you mentioned, which is absolutely essential, which you get for free, and one additional month free as well. And you guys get that by going to nordvpn.com/submission or using the code word submission. It's completely risk-free, by the way, with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. So there's, exactly right. Absolutely no risk in trying it. Stop the government from tracking you as well, or connect to a public Wi-Fi without worrying about all your stuff getting stolen. There are just like endless reasons why you need to sign up to a good VPN today, and the best VPN is NordVPN. Make sure to do it right now. Also, link in the description of this video too, just to make it nice and easy for you guys. But TJ, I was going to ask you as well, what do you think about Henry Cejudo officially announcing his return and re-entering the USADA pool? Did you see that?
I figured so, man. When he retired, I think it was kind of a ploy to try to get him to get paid more.
Yeah.
Thinking that he was worth more than he was. But the UFC's like, we don't give a shit. No one likes you. Leave anyways, you know what I mean? So eventually, I eventually knew he was going to come back. I mean, he's a competitor. He's a gold medalist and world champion in the UFC. So he's got that competition in his blood, and I feel like he quit a little early, right? But like I said, it was something to try to get paid more, and it didn't really work out for him. So he's back. I can see him wanting to fight 45s because there's not as much threat for him to go out and possibly lose at 45s. And if Volkanovski gets the job done against Max, I think Cejudo is actually a very tough fight for him if they give it to him, right? If not, he comes to 35s, and that's awesome. The chips are all kind of falling perfectly for me to avenge that one. It would be something I would love to do.
See, that's fascinating. Based on your excellent breakdown before of Aljo and Yan, I am curious, when you say Cejudo would be a good challenge for Volkanovski, what do you see there?
Cejudo's got good distance control. I mean, obviously the wrestling and just the speed, right? So I think Volkanovski, he packs a punch, but he's a lot faster than the 45ers, right? His stature is just a little bit different. He's like a little ball of muscle. And I feel like Cejudo is just as fast as him, right? And can get into those scrambles with him. And I actually think that grappling would actually slow Volkanovski down in Cejudo's distance control. I just think it's stylistically a close fight. I'm not saying that Cejudo goes in there and wins, but I think he gives Volkanovski a tough matchup.
It's fascinating as well because after this Holloway fight, if Volkanovski wins it again, he's looking at potentially moving up to the lightweight division. I don't know if you know this, but he actually used to even fight as high as a welterweight. And when he was playing footy, he was almost like a heavyweight, Volkanovski was.
I saw some videos of him playing rugby. That shit's insane. He was
insane. Yeah, and he was actually playing at a pretty high level. I was going to say, what do you think when you see Alex say he wants to have a run at lightweight? Because it definitely does make things interesting.
Exactly what I just said for Cejudo going to against Volkanovski is that if Volkanovski goes up, he keeps that speed. He makes the guys look even slower, and he does hit like a fucking ton of bricks. Like we said, we used to be big fighting or playing rugby, so I don't think it'd be a problem for him. I think he's like a serious threat at 55s, man. I mean, the guy's awesome. He's good. He's done some great things. I did think that Holloway won those fights, right? Maybe not the first one, but for sure the second one. So it's gonna be good to see that one get run back.
Who are you leaning towards in that one?
What's that?
Who are you leaning towards in that one?
Who I'll be rooting for?
Well, no, who are you leaning towards and who do you think wins it with Holloway? Like the first one I think was clearly Volko. I had Volko winning this second one, but I understand why people would think Holloway.
You're a little biased.
But beg your pardon? No. The fact that we live in the same country, I'm not biased. To be fair, the Weasel did a phenomenal.
Daniel Cormier. You're calling us Daniel Cormier over here.
The Weasel did a great breakdown, doing literally strike for strike. But yeah, with this one, I mean, I think it's going to be close regardless. Who do you think wins it?
Yeah, I feel like both the fights have been very competitive. You know, I mean, Holloway is always a gamer. I mean, that's why he's one of my favorite fighters. He never holds any animosity, and he always fights pretty smart. He's really long for the division. I think he should be smart enough to kind of figure out Volkanovski's game plan against him going into the third fight, right? There's things that Volkanovski does, like hitting that right hand and rolling in the southpaw with that right hook to cover that ground, and Max usually backs up the right way. That I think I'm getting some hints out there too that Max should pay attention to, right? And then maybe not being so heavy on that front foot and trying to get his reach involved, because those leg kicks and calf kicks were there so prevalent as well too, right? So there's a couple things that I think Max changes up, and it changes the whole game. But Volkanovski is a lot faster, you know, and he uses that to his advantage. So yeah, I think like you said, it's gonna be a close one. We'll see who comes out with a better game plan.
Yeah, man. Well, it sounds like you're doing your homework on guys in the proximity to your division. I wouldn't be surprised to see.
I just remember those fights. You know, I'm a fan of Holloway, so I watched his fight. Like, I don't watch a lot of fights unless I'm like a fan of someone that's fighting, a teammate or a friend of someone that's fighting, or maybe someone that I plan on fighting, right? Other than that, I don't watch a lot of fighting. I try, like I said earlier in the interview, I try to escape it. I try not to make it my entire life. I do get obsessed when I'm in fight camp about how I'm going to win and my game plan and my training. But outside of that, man, I think it's very beneficial to have a life outside of fighting, you know, and to not let it solely focus you, because you get burnt out. Man, I've been in the UFC 12 years now, so it's something you can get burnt out by doing, you know, by just overthinking it, and you can only be on the top for so long by doing that.
It's insane, because to me, you strike me like one of those people where you'll see a fight, but you see all the little aspects of it, and it seems like you can retain all that knowledge for a really long time. Am I right? Like, because when you're breaking down these fighters and these fights, it's like, you know, everything about them. It's a different level compared to what we hear a lot of people talk about when they watch fights.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I like watching tape of my opponents. I pick up on tendencies and habits they do. Like, I already know what Sterling's going to do and how he reacts to things. And
so would you, like, if you're watching Sterling, for example, like, how quickly do you see the reads? Like, is it you see a couple of sequences?
Pretty quick. I mean, you got to watch fights over time too, right? You got to make sure that they're changing from fight to fight. But I mean, me and Dwayne sitting together would catch on to him pretty quick, you know. I've already been watching tape, and anytime I get lined up with anyone or a possibility of someone, you know, I go out to Colorado, I train with him, I go back to his house, eat dinner, and we watch tape, you know. So, and we're on the same wavelength all the time, and we can pick up on it pretty quick. Hence, like, you know, like Dwayne picks up on shit during a fight, you know, like. That's why there's been multiple fights where you can see where he sits me in the corner, and the exact thing he calls out is what I do in that round, and it wins me the fight. You know,
that's why the backpack thing didn't impress you, Yan.
What's that?
The backpack thing. That's why it didn't impress you with Yan, when Sterling kept getting his back, and then Jan's corner was like, "Don't let him get you back." And then
yeah. I mean, man, just like. Well, you should be able to change yourself from round to round. You should be good enough and not to be the same fighter every round, to be able to change yourself from round to round. You know, you should be able to change who you are, not only from fight to fight, but from round to round. Because if something's not going right, you got to fucking change it, you know? And, I mean, going into that fight, you know what Sterling's going to try to do, you know, as well as you made the exact mistake 2 rounds in a row that cost you the entire fight, you know? I'm blown away too. You couldn't get out of my triangle. There was some presentations there that you could have done it, but going the wrong way and just slowly focusing on the choke rather than getting on top or getting out.
We'll let you go in a sec, TJ. But also, just I like what you said before about having a life outside of fighting. I feel like it is harder if all your eggs are in one basket, and then if you suffer a loss or go through a hard time, it just makes it all the more devastating. Whereas someone like you can always, focus on other parts in your life. But by the way, dude, a few days ago marked the 8-year anniversary of you beating Renan Barão for the belt.
Fuck.
8 years, dude. I mean, it was your first UFC title win. How insane is it for you to look back at that and realize that not only was it 8 years ago, but also that you're still as relevant as ever all this time later?
Yeah, I mean, we think about it to be 8 years is just insane because, I mean, that's what put me on the map. That's what made me who I am. And think about it was that long ago. It was kind of crazy. As long as I decide to fight, I'll be relevant. I won't have to leave the sport because I'm not. I'll leave the sport because I want to. I can always. I think that's what the perk of being well-rounded. Being able to. We talk about me not being able to use my footwork or something, right? I had to do that in my last fight. Blowing my knee out into that first round, I had to fight completely different. Otherwise the fight would have gone a lot more like that first round. I actually have been able to finish a little more of the takedowns. I would have been able to continue to use my footwork a little bit better. And I remember the time of my last fight in the second round, I took his back and I put my hooks in and my knee popped completely out again. And that actually hurt more than the first time it blew out. It was the second time it dislocated. I actually took his back and put my hooks in. I had to bail off of him and push him off and give up the position because my knee popped back out again, So being able to adapt to situations like that is going to keep me on top for as long as I want to be, being as well-rounded as I am, as I feel it is what's going to keep me here.
100%, man. Last one for me, and that is, against Barão, you wanted to, this is my read, that you wanted to prove that you could do it. You wanted to prove that you could be champion. I feel like against Cody, it was obviously regaining it and also validation and closure. What's sort of going to be the most satisfying thing about becoming champion again? And what do you want to prove by being, a 3-time UFC bantamweight champion?
I guess I never think about that before I go into it. I mean, that way, I guess you can look at it afterwards and kind of say that, right? Going into the Barão fight, I was such a big underdog that no one knew who the fuck I was. I was no one. I hadn't even been on a main card, let alone a pay-per-view main event, right? So that one was just kind of like, well, this is my time. Let's fucking go, kind of thing, right?
You were training on the plane.
What's that?
You were training on the plane, throwing mitts on the plane and on the baggage handling.
Yeah. That was just being fun, right? I mean, enjoying that's one thing you can't forget to do too, which is very easy, is to enjoy that process, right? Me being in that Barão fight, I was so new to the light in interviews, and it was by far the most attention I ever got in fighting. Was like, that shit's fun. Let's have some fun with it, right? And then you get into the sport for a while, and shit gets old, or you're kind of used to the lights, right? But it's something you got to make sure not to forget to have fun while doing it. And then the Garbrandt fight, not only I felt like I shouldn't have lost my belt against Cruz, so it was a statement piece like, see, I'm still the fucking champion, as well as a year of shit talking and alpha male and all that stuff was very gratifying, and we can see when I'm yelling in his face, I'm releasing all of that in 1 second of time. And then this one's just going to be like I told you fucking so, right? Like, I went through the fire, I've been down and out and got a lot of shit talked about me, and so kind of come back and be like, fuck all you guys, I'm still the best.
Oh, man, I can't wait for this return. I'm happy the knee's going well, and let us know when those salty cunt potato chips drop, because I know everybody's going to want to buy a pair.
I like salty cunt potato chips.
Guys, make sure to
do you think you can actually sell those in a grocery store, or
you can sell them in Australia, but I don't know about anywhere else. Maybe New Zealand, but I don't know. New Zealand, Australian, it's definitely a down under thing. Guys, make sure to follow the man at TJ Dillashaw. Of course, check out the Memorial Day sale at tjdillashaw.com as well. We cannot wait for the return. Thank you so much for giving us your time, man. Always an honor and pleasure having you on the program.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.